Babbling is one of the foundations for first words. It is a key predictor of later language development and the strongest indicator that spoken language is developing on track. And so much more. Babbling is a very important part of your baby's development. And maybe you're curious or possibly concerned, or maybe you just know someone with a baby. And if this is you, please share this episode with them. Today, we will talk about Babble, when it begins, what it means, and why it matters. Does your child have a speech-language delay and you really want them to talk? Do difficult behaviors derail home life and you know the frustration is a communication struggle? Does your child see a speech therapist and you wonder, what do they do and how can I help? If these or similar questions are in your mind, this podcast is for you. Hello, my name is Dinalynn Rosenbusch. I am a speech-language pathologist that has worked with children from birth to 21 for 3 decades. And in my classrooms, I see you wanting to connect with the heart of your child, but their speech and language skills create a barrier. So if you have a kiddo that has difficult behaviors, needs to expand their language or learn to say speech sounds, and maybe even receives speech therapy, stay tuned, because in this podcast, you will learn how to use your daily life as a tool to communication practice and how to do that practice. You will become confident knowing you are making the difference you want to make. And you will hear success stories of parents who have navigated these struggles already. We'll do this all while focusing on building deep, meaningful connection and confidence in your kiddo. So grab a cup of coffee along with a notebook and pen. It's time to speak in the way your child's brain understands. And that is the language of play. Oh, listeners, one thing I love about podcasting is that I can schedule episodes ahead of time. So, dear listeners, you don't have any gaps. And still, I was able to go to the lake, visit my parents, and ride my bike in the wilderness. But now, coming back from vacation, my brain feels like it's moving through molasses. It's amazing how even when I do something I love to do, like this podcast, getting the momentum back takes a little bit extra energy. But I'm back, and I love that you are here listening. Today, we have a sweet topic as we discuss baby babble. And I'm particularly loving it because I have a new granddaughter in this stage, and it's fresh in my mind from playing with her, and it's really fun to think of her as I speak. Now, the much requested webinar is returning. So August 19th, I will again do the webinar, Beyond Obedience, Unveiling the Power of Listening in Kids. So together we'll explore the factors influencing your children's listening skills, regardless of any speech or learning challenges they may face. Prepare to be inspired and informed, and look for the registration link in the show notes. And you are invited to share this information with other parents and caregivers as well. And due to the worldwide interest, which I'm excited to have, I'm presenting it at 2 times on August 19th. 10:30 in the morning and 6:30 in the evening Central Time, and that is Chicago time. So click the show notes and then remember to convert it to your time zone and see what works for you. So pause and go sign up now. And I want to call attention to my sponsor, and I'm so grateful, the Center for Play and Exploration. So getting unstuck, fighting burnout, and recovering delight is possible even when you have little ones. The Center for Play and Exploration is an organization that supports adults in restoring some of the childlike wonder you had as a kid. As parents, we get so busy that we get lost in our to-do list and other tasks of life while we try to keep up. We can lose our spontaneity and our joy. What if you could change how you feel just by changing how you think? This is one way you will benefit from contacting the Center for Play and Exploration. Use the link in the show notes and mention the language of play for a 20% discount. Oh, and I'd just like to mention too that Dave, the founder for the Center for Play and Exploration, is an engaging speaker. So if you're looking for a speaker, he might be perfect for your event. And finally, I want to take a moment to thank you listeners in Finland, Sri Lanka, and Hong Kong. It is so fun to see that the language of play is expanding so far, and I was a top 10 podcast in each of your countries just in this past month. So thank you for listening to Finland, Sri Lanka, and Hong Kong. All right, let's get into when Babble begins, what it means, why it matters, and let's discuss what's going on with Babble. Have you ever heard a baby talking or saying da 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 and wondering, is that really talking? Are they saying daddy? Are they saying just baby noises? What is this noise that they're saying? Well, in this episode, we're going to talk about what babbling is, when it typically starts, and why it is a big deal for speech and language development. So let's start with what is babbling. We're going to define it with babbling is when babies start experimenting with their mouths to make speech-like sounds. Now we're going to differentiate that from cooing. Cooing is the vowel-like sounds that are in an earlier stage. It's not babble yet because you have no consonants. So cooing is all that earlier stuff. So once your child says something like ba 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 or goo goo goo, when babies produce those repetitive consonant vowel type syllables, that is more like real speech, and that is what we call babbling. So when does it start? The general age range, there's babbling in a couple different forms. Early babbling, we say, is 4 to 6 months. And that would be when they are just like taking off with those funny sounds. And we start thinking, oh, what did they say? And then we've got a term, canonical. So canonical babbling is from that 6 to 10 months. And that is when we start to really see that vowel consonant repetition or consonant vowel. So ba ba ba, na na na, da da da, those kind of sounds. And of course, it's often rhythmic in a manner that repeats and mirrors what you have said to them. So it is highly variable when children start to make these babbling type sounds. And you can expect it, though, between 6 and 10 months of age, and then the early babbling in that 4 to 6 months. It includes clear, well-rounded syllables, not just the vowels or random noises like we would call cooing. It becomes voluntary. It is intentional, not just reflexive and sound-making. So why does babbling matter? Well, here's why. It is a critical milestone that shows the baby is developing control with the mouth, the tongue, and the voice. Your child is practicing how to use their mouth and their tongue and their voice in coordination with one another. They're practicing their speech motor skills and that muscle, nerve, airflow, the coordination of everything. It is all practicing that. So playing with sounds is also learning the rhythm of our language. English, like every language, has a rhythm to it. And when children play with sounds in their babbling, they're starting to mimic the rhythm of the language that they're speaking in. So if you are listening from someplace else in the world, you will hear the same thing going on. It'll be babble. It'll be your consonants and vowels, and it'll be the rhythm of your language, whatever language that you are exposing your child to. You may even experience a couple different types of babble that mold together if you are raising your child in a dual lingual home. You might find the rhythm of one language mushed together with the rhythm of another language, and the vowels and consonants all coming forward at once. That would not be something to be concerned about. In fact, that's fabulous. They're recognizing all kinds of sounds and they're using them. And that's fine at this stage completely. Another thing that we see is turn taking and imitating. So you will make sounds to your child and they will make sounds back to you as if you're having a conversation. This is early social communication. This is also something that children start to learn during this babbling time. All of this together lays the foundation for your child to be able to speak their first words. And that, of course, will come a few months later, but this all is the foundation. And here's something to really note, that babbling is a key indicator of later language development. And it is the strongest early indicator that spoken language is developing on track. That leads us to wonder, when do you get concerned? You get concerned and you start thinking about connecting with a speech therapist, whether in a conversation in a clinic or maybe even that's with me. And you start to be concerned about that is if you have no consonant sounds by 10 months. If your child isn't vocally taking turns with you, not that you're going to understand what they're saying yet, but they're taking turns in like conversation, but with sounds. And if you have a very quiet baby that does not do sound experimentation and sound play, these are times that you should get a hold of a speech pathologist and have a conversation. So maybe your kiddo is right in that age range and they're not doing a lot. Or maybe they are. But what do we do either way in order to encourage the babbling to continue and to increase? And here are some tips for you. First one, talk back. Imitate your baby. Take turns with your baby. Pause. Wait for your baby to take their turn. Sing and play with sounds. Use a mirror and play with the mirror. And wait, again, pause. Wait for your baby to start taking the turns. And then comes something called parent ease. This is a term that used to be called mother ease, and it is also described as infant-directed speech. And that is a very natural sing-songy way that many adults speak to babies. And it's great for language development. And I'm glad it's no longer called mother ease, but it is called parent ease because we know dads are great at this too. And here are some key features that you use in parent ease, or that infant-directed speech, that is going to help your baby follow you and babble more. So if your child isn't babbling as much as you think maybe they should, maybe they babble just a little bit, or even if they're babbling well, encourage it, encourage it, encourage it. So here are the key features of parent ease. Oftentimes you'll have a higher pitch. You'll be exaggerating your tone, like there's a melody in your voice, kind of talking up and down as you're talking to your baby. And if you feel a little bit silly, that is a good indicator you are doing a good job with your parent ease. Another key feature is that you're slowing your speech. You're giving clear sounds. You're stretching out the sounds so your baby can hear all the sounds. You might say, "Hi, baby." Another key feature of helpful parent ease is using simple but grammatically correct phrases. So instead of saying, "Doggy," when you see a dog and want your child to look at the dog, instead you say the whole correct phrase, "Look at the dog." And that way your child gets examples of full phrases. Another thing that we often do when we are good at parent ease is to narrate our routines, to narrate what your child is experiencing. Label what your child is looking at, what they are touching, what they are paying attention to, giving them words for those things. And this helps because all of these things together grabs a baby's attention, and they are actually like wired to respond to these types of interactions. I think that's why it's called parent ease, because it's so natural for us to do that, and they are wired to respond to it. It helps the babies also to hear and learn the rhythm and the sounds within speech. And it makes it easier for babies to tune into the individual words that they hear along the way. And here's another interesting piece of research that I read when I was preparing for this, and that is that babies exposed to a lot of parent ease tend to have larger vocabularies. And we know that vocabulary is the number one indicator of academic success, so let's start doing everything we can early to help our children build vocabulary. So here's an example. Instead of saying in a flat tone, "We're going to the car," to your baby, you might say something naturally and sing-songy like, "We're going to the car, we're going to the car. Let's get our shoes on." Or something silly. Just put tunes and sounds to it, stretching letters and playing with it. And yes, if you feel silly doing that, that means you are being a fantastic speech teacher. All right, that is today's episode, and let's recap what you've learned today. First, babbling is not just noise. It is a huge milestone that is a key indicator for speech and language development. Remember that all babies develop at their own pace, and this is a window of time, not a deadline, so you can enjoy it all the way through. Just remember to be playful and responsive, and your baby will be playful and responsive back. And if that is not what you're experiencing with your baby, then it is a time right around the 10-month mark to get a hold of a speech pathologist, call me, call a clinic, and have an evaluation or at least a conversation to determine the next best steps. I hope you let me know what you thought of this episode. Email me at hello@thelanguageofplay.com. I always love to hear from my listeners. And a reminder for the invite, I will be doing that webinar on August 19th. Click in the show notes for a link to sign up. This webinar has lots of valuable information for you to apply to your situation. It's not specific to babbling. It is focused on how your child's speech and language development impact their ability to listen. And of course, I want to call again attention to my sponsor, the Center for Play and Exploration. Thank you again for sponsoring this episode. Hey parents, I hope you found this episode helpful. If so, would you please take 30 seconds and share it with a friend who also lives or works with children? I would really appreciate it if you would leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. I read every review, and it lights me up to know that this show is making a difference. Then come join my Facebook community, where you'll meet other parents who are dedicated to helping their children grow too. You'll find the link in the show notes. Thank you for joining me. Now it's time to go. Let's pop our kiddos in the strollers and go look around outdoors and see what we have to talk about.